This is the Washington Times front page for Wednesday, December 10th, 2025. Thanks for joining us. I'm George Gerbo. President Trump returned to campaign mode to sell his economic agenda as a fix for Americans' frustration at the high cost of food and household goods. Jeff Murdoch reports he said Democrats were falsely blaming him for the affordability issue while ignoring the massive inflation of the Biden era. Trump has struggled to stay on message about the economy and at times has even been dismissive of it. A recent Gallup poll revealed 62% of Americans disapprove of his handling of the economy. A Fox News poll last month found that 76% voters have negative views of the economy. The Supreme Court is grappling with whether to topple another domino in campaign finance restrictions, this time a limit on political party committees' ability to coordinate with individual candidates on how to spend money. Alex Sawyer and Stephen Dinan report Vice President J.D. Vance and Republican congressional campaign committees have asked the justices to strike down the restriction on coordinated spending, arguing it infringes on free speech without providing significant benefits to the political process. Opponents urge the justices to uphold the current law. They warn of the potential for bribery if parties are allowed to coordinate more closely with specific candidates, telling the court the case is a way stop on Republicans' broader quest to reverse more campaign finance restrictions. The ongoing criminal trial of Linda Sun highlights what prosecutors say is China's large-scale operations to influence the U.S. government. Bill Gertz reports what began as a case of illegal Chinese influence expanded over the past year as prosecutors added corruption charges against Sun and her husband, Chris Hu. Sun worked for New York Democratic governors Andrew Cuomo and Kathy Hochul and is charged with illegally using her official position and curbing statements related to China's human rights abuses of Uyghur minorities. Sun and Hu have pleaded not guilty to more than 30 federal charges. The Trump administration's new national security strategy has rejected what it calls America's misguided experiment of hectoring Gulf monarchies. Jacob Wertschafer reports Gulf officials at the annual two-day Doha Forum made clear that Washington's more conciliatory tone alone won't suffice. The security landscape they navigate has become even more dangerous as the U.S. deprioritizes the region. The question that hung over the forum, does burden sharing account for partners who enable American policy while the U.S. reduces its footprint? And finally, Australia's concerns about China and jitters about the U.S. commitment to its Pacific allies were not eased this week in meetings between its top officials and the Trump administration. Andrew Salmon reports Australian Foreign Minister Penny Wong and Defense Minister Richard Marles met Monday in Washington with Secretary of State Marco Rubio and Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth. Australia is concerned about the Pentagon's review of a high-profile submarine deal and has questions about the newly released U.S. national security strategy. Find all of today's front page stories at WashingtonTimes.com/front page or on the Washington Times app, and find us wherever you get your podcasts. You can also find us on social media at Wash Times for breaking news, sports, commentary, and more. For the Washington Times, I'm George Gerbo.